We got some hot takes coming your guys' way in just around the corner. With the NBA season and kind of the offseason actually coming to a halt here, I wanted to hop in my bag and get you guys 5 hot takes for the Chicago Bulls next season. Let's get into it right now. So before I give you guys my 5 hot takes for the Chicago Bulls, it's August 1st, and my buddy Marsh and my buddy Rolly, we decided to have a subscriber battle here at Chat Sports. Marsh runs the Knicks page, Rolly runs the Heat page, and in August, we're going to see which NBA team and their channels can add the most subscribers. So if you guys could help me out, and if you guys just want to become a more informed Bulls fan today, hit that subscribe button, and let's beat the Heat and the Knicks. But my first hot take on today's show, it's about the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Zach LaVine, number 8 out of UCLA. And my hot take is that he will make an all-NBA team for the first time in his career this upcoming year. We know from a production standpoint, Zach LaVine has been one of the best bucket getters in the NBA that we have seen over the past couple of seasons. And always the number one thing that stands out to me with him is the efficiency. I mean, being able to put up more than 24 points per game over the last 4 seasons while maintaining above 45% from the field and damn near above 38% from downtown, I think it's one of his best accomplishments as just a pure offensive player so far in the NBA. I mean, damn near shooting over 37.5% over the last 4 years from deep. I think it's one of the more impressive things Zach LaVine has accomplished. But if we dive into his advanced shooting numbers, this is why I'm so excited about LaVine and why I think he's honestly became an underrated player and an underrated scorer in the modern-day NBA. He's a great catch-and-shoot guy. I always go back to a game, I think it was last year, when LaVine had 11 made threes in Charlotte. I swear, 7 of those threes was just him catch and shoot, coming off just natural ball movement in the offense, and he's able to knock it down. I do wish the pull-up 3 percentage was a little higher since he does take a very high volume of those coming off the pick and roll, but if he could jump that 34.2 to maybe a 36%, we could see that scoring output go from a 25 to maybe a 28 a game and see him take that all-NBA leap. Then obviously from the free throw line down, we know he's an elite rim attacker just because of his natural athleticism. The advanced shooting numbers really support as LaVine as being one of the best 3-way scorers and 3-level scorers in the NBA. And that's my kind of take and my breakdown of him, is he is the true definition of a 3-level scorer. Whether it's getting it done from deep, getting it done in the mid-range, or attacking the rim, LaVine excels in all of those categories. And we've really seen this past year LaVine add in that mid-range bump, and maybe he's just watching a lot of DeMar DeRozan highlights, obviously his running mate in Chicago, but a lot of the times he gets to that bump, rises up over the defender, and I think LaVine has kind of added that part of his game and really completed kind of his overall offensive game. But the question with LaVine, can he take the next steps as a defensive player and a leader on this team? We've seen it with Team USA when LaVine was not the number 1 scoring option, and he had to focus in here a little bit more on being a defender. And he was the guy picking dudes up 94 feet, really using his physical attributes to be an elite defender for that team. And then it's the leadership. Obviously with DeMar DeRozan kind of being the veteran in the locker room, but with LaVine being the best player and just the overall catalyst on this team, I want him to take that next step as kind of saying yeah, I am the best player. I'm going to start acting like a leader and just being more of a mentor for these younger cats on the Bulls. But I want to show Zach LaVine some love. I think he's going to take that next step next season. He's always been a prolific offensive player, but I want him to take that next step and make that all-NBA team. Show him some love in the comment section. Type his jersey number 8 down in the comment section. Number 2 for me is that the Bulls land a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference and actually make the playoffs. None of that play-in fugazi stuff. I got the Bulls actually making the playoffs in the East. And let's look at where the Eastern Conference kind of shakes up right now, because I do think the East is loaded. I mean, I don't think the Bulls are going to be better than any of the teams on the left side of your screen. I mean, maybe you can make an argument for the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I like what they've done in the offseason, adding much-needed shooting in Niang and Max Strus. But on the teams on the right side, we all know what's going on in Philly. I don't expect the Bulls to be maybe better than them, But the Pacers, Raptors, Hawks, and Nets, I fully expect the Bulls to be better than all those teams this upcoming year. So how do they get that 6th seed? Maybe it's the Knicks taking a step back. Maybe it's the Cavs taking a step back. Or who knows? Maybe Boston loses Marcus Smart and they're not the same team as they were before. Or who knows? Maybe Miami strikes out on Damian Lillard and then they fall to maybe a 5 or a 6 or a 7 seed in the East. Because I do like what the Bulls have done with their roster over the offseason. Like, we all know that they had the top dogs in DeMar and LaVine, and those are the real catalysts for this team. And obviously, Vooch rounding out that big three. But it's those other guys. It's adding in a guy like Javon Carter. It's adding in a guy like Torrey Craig to really help the Bulls get better on the margins. That's why I do think the Bulls are going to surprise some people this upcoming year. You know, I think a lot of the times, and, you know, it's called recency bias. It's a hell of a drug that we take here in sports media. But I think a lot of the times that us fans, you know, we forget that, you know, forget about what happened last season. Let's just focus in on the roster and what they have right now. The Bulls got 2 elite scorers in DeMar and LaVine. They got young and up-and-coming players in Patrick Williams and Kobe White. And they got hell of a defensive backcourt and just a defensive backbone. And guys like DeSumo, Caruso, and Javon Carter. And we'll touch on that here in a second. But I do think if you look at the Bulls roster as a whole, if they stay healthy and they kind of get the continuity and chemistry aspect figured out, I think they're going to be a hell of a team and shock a lot of people. You guys know number 3 for me. This is not really a hot take, but I've talked about it a lot here on the channel, and that's Patrick Williams. And he will be taking that next step next season. I'm a big fan of P-Dub. You guys know this. You know, even dating back from Florida State, I was always a believer in his game. But this last season, the thing that sticks out to me is that efficiency. And honestly, not just the efficiency, but the point or the fact that he played 82 games last season fires me the hell up. Because that says I'm coming to work every day. I got my lunch pail ready, and I am ready to frickin' work. But the efficiency last season for P-Dub, 41.5% from deep. Love it. 46% from the field. Love that as well. But like I've said in the past, it's going to come down to shots for Patrick Williams. Like, that's the number one thing. Like, we know Patrick Williams is not going to, you know, jump Zach LaVine in shot attempts per game, but maybe he can jump DeMar and Vooch, and that's where I want him to land. Like, if I had to go, like, ideal shot attempts per game for the Bulls next season, I would still keep LaVine at 18. I'll probably put Patrick Williams maybe around that 14, 15 mark, but it definitely can't be less than 10. Then maybe go DeMar at 14, 15 as well, and then knock Vooch down to around 10 shots a game. I think with P-Dub, it's going to come to more shot attempts, more volume, and a higher usage rate if we want to see him take the next steps, because he's got the physical attributes, he's got the work ethic. It just comes down to if the Bulls offense is going to allow him to take that leap. Number 4 for me is maybe not a hot take for the season, but a hot take heading into the season. I got Christian Wood signing with the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls have one last roster spot they could use. They still have that disabled player exception where they can use $8.2 million of that. So why not go get the 3-level scoring big man that last played with the Dallas Mavericks last year? And if you look at his stats, this looks like some stuff out of 2K where you're saying, why is this guy not better? Why has he not been, you know, a contributor to a winning team or just a championship team even? I mean, the numbers are ridiculous. I mean, anytime, like we said with LaVine as well, anytime you can have a high scoring output with the efficiency above 50% from the deck and maintains over 37% from 3, it's just fantastic. True definition of a 3-level scorer. But he is kind of a head case. Doesn't really play too much defense, and he has been known as a locker room problem. That's why he's been on 7 teams throughout his NBA career. But this would fill a need from a scoring big perspective off the Bulls bench. Like, you know, Nikola Vucevic, not a good defender. Christian Wood isn't either. So it kind of has some problems with running those two as your bigs. But he would give a kind of good complementary piece, a little yin to yang with Andre Drummond. You know, Drummond, he's that kind of, you know, maybe not back to the basket big like he once was, but he's just a grinder. He's a rebounder. He's a good drop-off guy in that lob area. You know, Christian Wood would add another dynamic, a guy that can spread the floor, run some pick and pops, you know, hit a mid-range jumper every once in a while. So I would be all in. Maybe you bring Christian Wood for the DPE, but I ask you guys, do you want to sign Christian Wood with the Bulls' last roster spot? Give me an S for sign or give me a P for pass down in the comments section. This is my take that I'm probably the most confident in heading into next season. Like, all 4 of these I think can very well happen, but it's this one that I am no doubt, and I don't even know why I'm calling it a hot take. It's maybe a hot take for, you know, the untrained eyes out there and the NBA casuals, but the Bulls, that they'll be a top 5 defensive team next season. Because the Bulls last year, they were already a top defensive team in the league, and especially after they added in Patrick Beverley when he was waived. But points per game, they're top 10. Field goal percentage, top 10 as well. And actually in defensive rating, they found themselves 5th at the end of last season. So I do think the Bulls, with their overall roster, I think they got a chance to take that leap. And they realistically have 5 great defenders on this team. We know what Ayo, Javon, and Caruso, what they're going to bring in that defensive backcourt. Like, point of attack defenders are going to be huge. And obviously we know the Bulls front court, there's an issue. There's a lack of rim protection. And frankly, there's just a lack of size. Like, obviously, a guy like Jokic or Embiid will eat the Bulls front court for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But the best way to combat that and the best way to kind of mask your problems is to have great point of attack defenders. And that's what Ayo, that's what Carter, and that's what Caruso, that's what they do at the highest level. And then also the number one thing, or the second thing I love about the Bulls, is they got solid wing defenders now. Like, where Patrick Williams didn't have to be that anchor on the wing defensively, you add in a guy like Torrey Craig. And I think Torrey Craig, he's a sneaky defender, 6'8", super twitchy, long arms. Like, the Bulls, in terms of their backcourt and their wing defenders, you can make an argument they're up there with some of the best in the league, like the Boston Celtics or whoever it may be that comes to your head. It's going to see if the Bulls can get that front court defensive production. You're going to have to get a little more out of Vooch. You're going to have to get a little more out of, maybe if they sign Christian Wood or Andre Drummond, whoever it is running that Bulls front court. You're going to have to get a little bit more out of them. And I do think the Bulls could have one of the best defensive teams in your league. But I give you 5 hot takes for the Chicago Bulls. You just got to give me one. Give me one of your Chicago Bulls hot takes heading into next season. The one I'm most confident in, that they'll have a top 5 defense. But you guys give me one. Give me your hot take for the Bulls this upcoming year. As always, thank you guys so much for watching today's edition of the Bulls Report by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Seatman. Thank you guys again so much. Keeping you guys posted with all Bulls news and rumors up until the season gets underway. So hit that sub button. Complete free way to help us out here. See you guys next time. Go Bulls.